Hey players, it's time to grab your tea and have a seat. Let's discuss politics, crime, celebrity gossip, investigative reporting. Welcome to The Real Tea with Double D on GSMC Podcasting Network, where I am black and the news is always petty as hell, but it's accurate.
Hey players, welcome to a brand new episode of The Real Tea with Double D. Of course, I am Double D and we are on the GSMC Podcasting Network. So excited to be with you all tonight to record a brand new episode. Now listen, I know some of y'all looking like, what the hell is Double D doing live? Because I just know she told us that she was not going live tonight, and I absolutely did. I did tell y'all that. However, I decided that I needed to come and be with y'all. I know I said that I was not going to come out here and do any news tonight. I said I was going to take a rest, but I just really enjoy spilling the tea with y'all. So I decided to go ahead and come anyway and kind of take my mind, take my mind off of some other things. I'm going to put my mind over to the news. So I decided to go ahead and scurry my ass on over here, babies, and spill some tea. I actually got this show ready in about 30 minutes because I decided I was going to do it at 9:30. So it might be a little bit fucked up, but we're going to make it do what it do, baby, anyway. So excited to be with y'all tonight. Now I'm going to remind everyone out there in Facebook and podcasting world that I cannot interact with you all as much as I would like to because I am recording this episode for my podcast. However, I love you and I'm so glad that you're here and y'all talk amongst yourselves because baby, we got a little bit of tea that we need to unpack tonight. So I want to say, hey, how y'all doing? Love you so much. And thank you for joining. Hey, podcasters, how are y'all doing? So excited for y'all to come back for a brand new episode. There's not a sponsor tonight because again, this was a impromptu recording of the episode. So I didn't have a sponsor prepared or anything, but I'm so excited to be with y'all, honey. We're going to pop this thing off with I'm going to do it tonight. I'm going to do it a little different. And I'm actually going to pop this thing off with DL Hughley and Monique. So y'all get y'all tea cups, baby, because this tea right here is piping hot. All right, players. So everybody knows what's going on with Monique and DL, honey. I declare it's a hot boo-boo shitty mess, baby. Ugh, it is a mess. So oh, Ambrika. I'm sorry, I gotta stop this for a second. Ambrika, I know you so mad at me because I told you. Did I tell you I wasn't going live tonight? I may have told you personally, but I know you was waiting on me yesterday and I didn't get a chance to go. I am so sorry, sweetheart. I should have gotten and sent you a private message and told you that I was going to be live, but I didn't get a chance to do it because I was trying to scurry my ass on here. So I'm glad that you made it and thank you for joining. Look, this is a loyal supporter right here. She loves me. Hey, sponsors me. She's great. All right, now let's get back to the conflama. Okay, so everybody knows what's going on with DL and Monique, honey. I declare it is a hot boo boo shitty mess. But I'm gonna give you a brief recap before we go to the new shit. Okay, so Monique and DL had a show together, right? And well, I'm just gonna say it like that. They had a show together, little thing at the Fox Theater called the Comedy Explosion. It was some deal that they were supposed to do a little comedy or whatever. So DL gets this according to him, and he really doesn't want to do it because Monique is involved. You see what I'm saying? He really doesn't want to do it because Monique is involved. But he said, "I'm gonna go ahead and give her a chance. You know, she's coming back into the game. She's had some rough years in the past. I'm gonna go ahead and give her a chance and go ahead and do it with Monique. You know what I'm saying? So he comes and he does it. The day of the show, Monique shows up. However, she shows up a little late, according to DL. She shows up real late, all this kind of stuff. And there was some kind of conflama going on with her thinking that she was the headliner. So Monique goes out there, honey, and she takes this situation to the stage. And she blames DL for the entire thing. Honey, she talks about his family, talks about his wife, called him a coon. Then she drugged Steve Harvey and Oprah Winfrey into it. Child, it was a hot boo-boo shitty mess. So so everybody sees this and they're like, what the hell is going on? So of course the next day, all the, the black Twitter and the black people, honey, we humming, we talking like, what the hell is wrong with Monique? I thought she learned her lesson. And some of people are on Monique's side and they're like, oh, well, Monique is Monique. Maybe she had some beef with DL or something. Maybe he did something, da 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 da. According to what Monique was saying on the stage, this was all DL's fault. So this goes viral. Everybody's talking about it. So then the next day, DL decides to drop his receipts where he shows a deal memo that shows him as the headliner of the show and shows Monique as actually a person that's going to open along with another person, Jody, somebody or whatever, and a couple of other acts that was in there, but nobody important, I don't think. I don't know these people because I don't watch comedy like that. But anyway, I digress. So he posts his receipts, and then Monique double back and she posts her receipts. And her receipts, she posted a contract. It looked, legitimate. She also posted a lineup of which they were supposed to be doing their what is it called, the sound check or whatever, at what times they were supposed to be doing their sound checks. And it looks like Monique was supposed to be the headliner. But baby, DL doubled back and said that Monique was full of shit because this contract that she posted was actually a contract that was between her and her management team. So everybody is going every which way. Some people believe in DL, some people is believe in Monique. Well, we know that DL actually has a radio show, right? So what do you think he did? He took it to the radio show and he actually explained why he did what he did, what really happened. He said that Monique showed up late. He said that Monique was trying to delay the show so she could be a headliner and all this kind of stuff. It was a lot of conflama going on. And then he says this. I have some of it. So we're gonna listen to it and we're gonna come back and talk about it.
Let me ask you something. What did any of that have to do with an alleged contract dispute? What did Steve Harvey have to do with your contract? What did I have to do with your contract? What did my dog have to do with your contract? What does my wife have to do with your contract? You wrote your contract, you and your daddy. You proceeded to say things that were so patently insulting that it was galling. You proceeded to assault my sexuality. You have the temerity to assault someone's sexuality, a man's sexuality, given who you lay next to. None of that had anything to do with alleged contract dispute. You could have taken that up with a lawyer. You would have gotten out. You could have not gone on stage, but you knew you didn't have a valid contract. And you do what you always have done. You tried to weaponize black femininity. You tried to turn that audience against me. You tried to burn everything down. Like you do all the time. Who calls Netflix and thinks I can get $10 million because I did the Queens of Comedy? Who thinks you can get on stage and still live off that? I was a king of comedy. You never hear me talking about it because in this business, like any other, it isn't what you have done, it's what you do. That show was one I signed on to do. I made the quintessential mistake, the horrible mistake that like Tyler Perry, like Lee Daniels, like Oprah, like all these people of saying yes to you. And it is an occupational hazard. It is my fault. I have learned my lesson. You didn't just, and the thing that bothers me the most isn't the things that you said, because I know who I am and I know what I do. And I have a pristine reputation. Everybody who knows me know what I'm about. It's this whole, my dear, my babies, I love you for real, which is so transparently false, it is ridiculous. But the thing that was really the most annoying, the thing that was really the most bothersome, is after a terrible couple of weeks where people were being slain in Buffalo, where people were being slain, kids were getting slain in school, and people had come to a comedy show to get away from all of their problems, you besieged them with yours. The one contract that isn't in dispute is the one that the audience had with us to entertain them. But every single time, more and more, you spend half of your time talking about your grievances and what you didn't get and who did this to you. A coward would have left. A coward would have said, I can't go. You didn't even want to go on when you had a contract that you knew that not to be true. You made up this whole narrative that you knew not to be true, and you played that out in front of the audience. And then I had to go on behind you. And you know what you did? You sat back and you tried to watch your damage. I don't blame you. I wish you well. But when you do the things you do, when everything's about you, when you're vitriolic, when you have all these fights with all of these entities, it is you. Precious was not a movie. Precious was an autobiography. That is who you are, literally. You mad at the contract you and Daddy wrote? Your daddy? And I don't know why you call a man daddy and you pay for him. That's a son.
He said, I don't know why you call a man daddy that you pay for. That's your son. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So y'all heard what DL had to say. Obviously, he's still a little, he's still a little upset it, you know what I'm saying? So Monique decided to come back and say what her explanation was and why she decided to do what she did. Honey, I'm sorry to do this to y'all, but this is about 4 minutes. Y'all listen to this.
Of where the love fest, if you will, ended.
Let me turn it up, Daddy. They saying turn it up.
All right.
Okay. So let me just take y'all back to where when you think you're cool with somebody, you find out that you're not. Some time ago when D.L. Hughley, he still has his radio show, and they called me to do an interview. I go on to do the interview, and I'm getting interviewed by the Sister Jasmine, and I can't remember the other gentlemen that were in the room. It was one of his producers, and it was another gentleman on the radio. And please forgive me, I can't remember their name. So we're having a great time doing this interview. Well, when we get to the end of the interview, the Sister Jasmine says, "Hey, Monique, would you like to play a game?" And I said, "Okay, sis, let's play the game." Well, when she said the game is called Would You Rather? So I said, okay, I'm down for it. And then the sister says to me, "Would you rather your husband sleeps with Lee Daniels with a condom or Corinne Steffens without one?"
Breathe that in for a sec.
Now, for those of you who didn't hear it and you might just have joined the room, I want to take you back to that moment. This sister, a black woman, asked me when they were playing this game called Would You Rather, "Hey, Monique, would you rather your husband sleeps with Lee Daniels with a condom or Corinne Steffens without one?" Now, the question that I would ask anybody that's listening, is that offensive? Is that insulting? Is that going too far?
When you are pro-black or portray yourself as a pro-black man, how is that helpful to the community to ask, would you sleep with Lee Daniels with a condom? Would you prefer your husband sleep with Lee Daniels with a condom or Corinne Steffens without? Because any way Monique speaks on it, what happens? You're downgrading the other person.
Yes.
And despite the fact that Monique and Lee were having a rift at the time, she refused to say anything negatively against them in that regard. She wasn't going to play that. But to your point, then what happened?
So DL was not there that day. I said to his team, let me call DL Hughley, because what I know is that brother ain't down like that. He gonna have a problem with y'all saying that kind of foolishness. So I get D.L. Hughley's telephone number and I call D.L. Hughley. And I said, "Hey man, I just did an interview with your people and this is what they trying to run. Like this is the game they trying to play." And DL's response was, "That's just how we do. And that's what it is." I said, "Really, brother? So we attack families now? Like what you doing?" Like I said, that's just how we do. I said, "DL, I would suggest you don't air that because I don't think it's going to make you look good to the community." Now, if y'all notice, that never got aired and I never said anything. Through the years, I never said anything. I kept it to myself because what I knew was that I was going to see D.L. Hughley again. Now, after that situation happened, it let me know for whatever reason, D.L. Hughley was not cool with me. For whatever reason. Then through the years, and I want y'all to hear me, please. Through the years, I've listened to this man talk about all that I'm not, what I didn't deserve. I was mentally ill. I was bitter. Me and my husband did poor business. I was selfish. I was fanatic. I was psychotic. Now, don't take my word, please. You can Google it for yourself. YouTube it for yourself. D.L. Hughley speaks on Monique. And through the years, my babies, I said nothing because I knew the day would come that I would see D.L. Hughley. Now, for every interview he's done, I didn't get it from nobody else's mouth. I watched it for myself. And I watched this brother sit down with that white cat.
Vlad.
Vlad, and tell this white man all that I wasn't as the white man told him all that me and my husband wasn't. And I watched D.L. Hughley go in. Now, it ain't that he just goes in on me. D.L. Hughley has a habit of saying freely what he wants to say about anybody.
Ice Cube.
Come on.
Angela Stanton.
Come on. Kanye West. Like the young babies.
Islam.
The young babies, the rappers, Young Thug and Gunna.
Yeah.
See, and let me tell y'all, when I made that joke about you, D.L. Hughley, I didn't think you would get tender in your feelings because you made the comment about the baby stage names and you said with names like that, don't you think they would wind up in jail? Well, that's what you said. Well, I thought I was coming back being clever, making a joke, because you know back in the day when somebody was on the DL, you know what they were. I don't think you're a homosexual man, DL. I was making a joke and I can't believe you got tender. See, you got tender after you've talked for years. So let me be clear to you babies watching. Saturday night, I don't care where I went up on that stage, I was going to hand D.L. Hughley his ass.
All right, players. So y'all heard Monique. I'm sorry y'all had to hear that whole thing, but I wanted y'all to hear her full explanation so y'all can understand where she was coming from with the reason why she did what she did. Okay, so she said that DL had been talking about her for a long time, and that's the reason why she did what she did, because of something that had happened prior on the radio show. Now look, I don't know anything about this person who may have asked her something like that. The co-host, I think the name she said was Jasmine. I don't know anything about that. But if that happened, then I feel like it should have been handled at that moment. But since they didn't handle it, it seems like it was a lot bubbling up in her as far as DL was concerned. Now, here's the thing. If DL's been talking about you all this time, and I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, DL has been talking about her on several little shows or whatever. He was asked about Monique several times, and he did speak his piece, which is the same thing he did on his radio show when he addressed her this time. But I'm going to say that it was in my opinion, it was very unprofessional for her to bring that to the stage. I feel like she should have handled that behind stage. And since this is a man and this is the way I would have handled it if it was me. You got a man talking about a woman. D.L. Hughley is talking about Monique. D.L. Hughley is a man. You know what I'm saying? So if my husband is my manager, I'm going to make my husband pull up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not arguing back and forth with no man. I'm going to get my husband, especially as my manager, he going to come talk to you like, hey, dude, you talking spicy. You know what I'm saying? About my wife on this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Let me holler at you on that because we didn't appreciate what you said in this place, that place, and that place. That's if I wanted to address it. But after so many years, you know what I'm saying? I feel like this dude don't fuck with me. Then I just won't fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not about to mess up my change by coming on stage and doing this whole thing in front of everybody that when I've already been painted in a certain type of light. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that she needs to let nobody run over her. Because honestly, another thing, I don't think it was a contract. I don't think this was DL's fault. I don't think it was a certain contract dispute with DL. DL didn't write the fucking contracts. He's not responsible for who's the headliner and this, that, and the third. He wasn't responsible for that. New Day was responsible for that. So she should have took that up with them. However, her personal grievances with DL should have stayed personal grievances, and she should have handled that face to face or with him, or had her husband handle it, or she should have just shut the hell up and did her job. And then if New Day did not honor her contract like she said, then she should have took them to court and handled it and got her shmoney. You know what I'm saying? Everything is about shmoney. You don't go up on no stage and act no fool like that. That's embarrassing. You just don't do that. So that's my take on it, players. I don't know how y'all feel about it, honey, but that's the way I feel. And I feel like some of y'all in the comments, y'all will agree with me. Monique is making herself look real bad out here in these streets. Lucky for her, she's working for D.L. Hughley. So working for 50, and 50 believes that all press is good press. But wait until they get together and Monique start doing this fuck shit. She ain't gonna be able to do that with 50 because he gonna blast her. You think you blasting DL Hughley, baby? You don't want to fuck with DL like that, honey. I declare it's gonna be a disgrace. So players, I want y'all to grab them teacups, honey, because you know what time it is. It's time for us to get ready for the tea report. All right, players. So this is on the agenda for tonight. I wanted to talk about Buffalo, give you guys some updates on what happened with Buffalo because that is something that happened. And I understand what happened in Uvalde. However, we do still want to keep track of what's happening in Buffalo. Very important that we do that. So I will let you know that the first thing, you remember I told you guys about the 911 operator that hung up on the assistant manager at Tops when she called in during the shooting. Her name, the assistant manager's name is Letitia Roberts, and she alleged that the 911 operator had hung up on her. And I'm just going to refresh y'all's memory on what she had to say happened during that 911 call.
For joining us. It's my understanding that you were working inside of the Tops Market. I believe you were an assistant manager there. Can you walk us through what you saw this afternoon?
I didn't really see much at all. I just heard the gunshots and just dropped down to the ground and just waited for him to stop. And he just wouldn't stop. So I tried to call 911 and I was whispering because I could hear him close by. And when I whispered on the phone to 911, the dispatcher started yelling at me saying, "Why are you whispering? You don't have to whisper." And I'm trying to tell her, like, "Ma'am, he's in the store. He's shooting as an active shooter. I'm scared for my life." And she said something crazy to me, and then she hung up in my face. And I had to call my boyfriend and tell him to call 911.
Well, that is certainly unfortunate, Letitia.
So you all heard what happened. Apparently, she was placed, the 911 operator, she's been identified by a local news station that I was fortunate enough to find this. And she's been identified as Sheila E. Ayers. That's Ayers. She was identified. She had been working as a 911 operator for 8 years. She was actually placed on paid administrative leave pending investigation on May 16th. And she has been fired. She asked, "You were about to lose your job." Yes, she did. She lost her job. Um, and the new Fox 30 actually caught up with her, and she said that she was working. This was her response to her being fired. She said she was working in the enhanced call center the day of the shooting. Ara said that she is sorry about what happened, what Rogers experienced during the shooting, but added that the employee changed her story about what happened at the supermarket multiple times. So basically, she's trying to blame Letitia, and she said that she's being attacked from one side of the story. So I guess she's trying to say she wasn't really able to tell her story, but I feel like the 911 call that they reviewed, that unfortunately in the state of New York is not public information, so you have to actually sue to get that. Actually, have to file a lawsuit to get that. So we won't have access to the 911 call, but according to them, during the investigation, it did show that she was negligent in what she did. They said that we teach our 911 call takers that if somebody's whispering, it probably means they are in trouble. So she was not supposed to hang up with her, and she definitely was not supposed to be reprimanding her for whispering. So I declare, honey, it's a disgrace. So that has happened. I feel like, hey, you play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You should not have hung up on that lady like that. That was not cool. All right. So the next thing that's happening in Buffalo is that the shooter, the madman, Peyton Gidron, has actually been officially indicted in a 25 count indictment, y'all. That actually happened today, and he did plead not guilty. Now, it always kills me when everybody always get up in arms about people when they go into court for the first or second time, or when they're initially arraigned and defendants plead not guilty. That is customary, honey. It hardly ever happens for a defendant, although they may have evidence stacked up to them like Peyton Gidron does, all the way up to the sky up in heaven, honey. They still not gonna plead guilty unless whenever they whenever they were arraigned or before an arraignment, there was actually some talk with the prosecutor to have some type of deal drawn up before that even happens. But because this is such a complicated case, you are definitely not going to see Peyton Gidron, even though he is guilty as a motherfucker. You're not going to see him come in and plead guilty right off the bat. It's just not going to happen. You're never going to see that. So stop getting your little draws in a wad when it comes down to that, because it never happens. Okay, so he was in court today. He dressed in a jumpsuit. He was shackled with his hands and feet, and he was asked by the judge if he understood the charges. The only time he spoke was to say yes, ma'am. So he was actually charged with 10 counts of first degree murder, 10 counts of second degree murder as a hate crime, and 3 counts of attempted murder as a hate crime. He also faces domestic terror charge as well as weapons charge. Um, um, Authorities allege that there's ample evidence that it indicates that the teen was motivated by race and that he targeted the supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood because he wanted to kill black people. Uh, So he's been charged with those. Again, he pled not guilty. If he is convicted, he faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. The only sentence for the domestic terror charge is life in prison without parole. Um, and with that, they have to prove that 5 or more individuals were murdered with the intent of and the intent was racially motivated. And remember, he also could be charged with federal hate crimes, which that is still being investigated at a federal level. Um, they're looking into the case being racially motivated violent extremism, according to the FBI agent in charge of the Buffalo field office. So yeah, that is what's going on with Peyton Gidron. He has been charged with those with 25 count in a 25 count indictment. He faces up to life in prison, and he could face federal hate crime charges, which I'm pretty sure that he will face those. He'll never see the light of day again. Um, Unfortunately, New York does not have the death penalty in this case, so that is what's going on in that situation. So now, grab your teacups, players. Get ready for the tea report. Where's my tea report? Where are you? There you go. Oh, Uvalde, Uvalde, Uvalde. I'm going to tell y'all something. Uvalde has been tougher. Well, I'm not going to say tougher. Yeah, I am. I am going to say that I think they're equally the same, but it's just something about babies, you know, saying Rob Elementary School. I have struggled with saying it in videos. In fact, I guess you would say, chastised on TikTok because I wasn't saying Rob Elementary School. Y'all never do that to me on Facebook, but on TikTok I get a lot of hell. Um, and I was actually chastised by a user because I was not saying Rob Elementary School, and there's a reason for me saying not saying it's because I could not fix my mouth to say it. It's just something so real about some stuff when you say it out loud. Although I'm describing, these babies one by one, it's just something about saying the school that was just, it would just make my eyes well up with tears, and I would just never get done with the video. It was horrible. Um, so I have a few updates on Uvalde. Nothing concrete as far as the investigation is concerned. We all know that it is a hot boo shitty mess. That despite Pete Arredondo, which is the chief of police that made the call not to go into school, despite the fact that he has been saying that despite the fact that he told CNN that he's cooperating, that is not true. He is not cooperating. He hasn't been. He may have been speaking with them every day, but that doesn't mean that he's cooperating. Hell, I can speak to a doorknob that turns my lock. That doesn't mean that it's actually working. You see what I'm saying? So I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So I will let you know that this really was very sad that the Uvalde teacher um that Steve McCraw, which is Texas DPS director, actually accused or said, because we don't know her name, said that she left the door open. She actually had to get an attorney, and her attorney actually spoke out and said that she is heartbroken that she was accused of this. Although they did come back and walk it back, she said that she's heartbroken. The attorney said it's traumatic. It's traumatic for her when it's insinuated that she's involved by leaving the door open. Um, he said that she sees this is what actually happened. She said that she walked out the door to retrieve some food from a colleague outside where she saw the gunman crash his gray Ford truck, then exit the vehicle and head her way toward the school armed with a gun. She says she sees him throw a bag over the fence and he has a weapon, the gun around his chest. He hops the fence and starts running at her. She's Flannery said the teacher then that's the attorney. The attorney said the teacher then immediately turns and runs inside, kicks the rock that was holding the door open, and then she slams the door. Now, this door is supposed to automatically lock. She was unaware that it did not lock. Um, and she said she went back inside the school and then she heard the gunshot shot. She said she thought she was going to die herself. She was waiting for him to come in. Obviously, she's heartbroken with all the lives that were lost. She said this that she has been crying and just totally distraught by this in by this by this terrible mix-up that was done by DPS, saying that. And if you guys remember in that press conference, he actually said this twice. He reiterated this twice. So this wasn't a mistake that they made. And how can you mistakenly, say that this teacher left this door open when you have video footage showing that it was closed by the teacher? And either way, it's not this teacher's responsibility, what I'm saying, to hold that, you know, put that burden on her to say, "Oh, you didn't close the door and that's how the shooter got in. You are responsible." When you stood 19 officers stood in the hallway when they could have went into that classroom and actually stopped some of these babies from being, murdered. It is disgusting that that happened and it should have never happened. And I'm sending out positive vibes to this teacher, although I don't know her name. I do feel for her because how she must have felt to be sitting there listening to this press conference and then to hear him say, "Oh, the teacher left the door open." I mean, and she know that she didn't. She closed that door. It's just so sad, and it's an egregious action. And I think that they did come back and apologize, or at least they did walk back the statement, but I don't know if they apologized. But that's just undue stress that was placed on that woman who just went such a horrific event, and now she has to deal with this. It's just so very sad. Also in Uvalde, this is a little bit of sweet news. Well, I wouldn't say. I guess we could say sweet that Girl Scouts did this. The Girl Scouts of USA actually bestowed upon Amira Jo Garza of Uvalde, one of the students that was killed in Uvalde. They actually gave her the highest honor in Girl Scouting, the Bronze Cross. The Bronze Cross is awarded for saving or attempting to save the life save life at risk of the Girl Scouts' own life. So they presented that to the family, and I thought that that was very, very, very kind and sweet that that actually happened. Um, In other news, Uvalde news, Irma and Joe Garza, they were actually laid to rest, and the GoFundMe that was started for them, for their four children that are left behind, it raised over $2 million for those children. So that is absolutely awesome, and I was very happy to hear that they were laid. Irma and Joe were actually laid to rest yesterday. So yes. Kim Kardashian. This is other Uvalde news. Kim Kardashian is asking for the temporary release of a father whose child was killed in Uvalde. That was actually um, Eliana Cruz Torres's father. He's actually in jail, and they have been asking for him to be freed. He's in prison. They have been asking for him to be freed, but all the requests have been denied so far. They have asked the Bureau Bureau of Prisons to approve Torres to be temporarily released so he can say the last goodbye to his baby girl. So uh Kim Kardashian shared a school photo of Eliana on Instagram, on her Instagram stories and on Twitter today, and she wrote, her family are desperately hoping that her father, who is incarcerated for a nonviolent drug offense, be granted temporary release so that he can attend her funeral. So hopefully that happens. I'm rooting for that. Somebody was actually, let me say this, somebody was actually endorsed by Kim Kardashian the other day. Some politician that wants to be. How you get endorsed by Kim Kardashian? I know that Frumpy Dump gave her a little power when he was in there, but that's gone. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about that. I know she was invited to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but you know, I don't know about that. But anyway, that's nice of Kim to do that, and I hope that that actually works out. And one more thing about Uvalde, um, uh, Ava Morales, which was the other teacher that was in the room, she was the teacher that was killed in Uvalde. Her husband actually worked for the school district police, and he was not allowed to go in. She was actually on the phone with him during part of the shooting. Y'all, that just broke me. I could not even imagine. Did you hear me? Eva Morales was on the phone with her husband during part of that shooting, and he actually works for the school district police, and he was not allowed to go in and retrieve his wife. I need some tea. Grab them, y'all. Isn't that the saddest thing you ever heard of? I just cannot. I cannot imagine. Oh, no, they did not allow Jacqueline. They did not allow him to go in. I'm not reading have the actual report in front of me, but they said that he was prevented from going in, that he did not go in. I know that I had some screenshots of that. I'm going to see if I can find it really quick. Oh, I know that I took screenshots of that. Yes, here it is. In the final moments of her life, Eva Morales, a teacher, they spoke for the last time from the opposite sides of the school. Her husband, it says that a teacher at Robb Elementary School was on the phone with her husband, Ruben Ruiz, a school district police officer. The senior county official said on Wednesday they spoke for the last time from opposite sides of the school walls. She was with her fourth grade students in a pair of adjoining classrooms taken over by the gunman. He was outside the school amid the fastest growing throng of armed officers who rushed to the scene. She was in the classroom and he's outside. It's terrifying. Um, let me see. He said that he was not allowed to go in. I look. I'm just telling you what they said. He was not allowed to go in. So, yeah, that happened. That really happened, and it's so very sad. I couldn't even imagine that scenario. I don't want to imagine that scenario, but that actually happened. I declare, honey, it's so very sad. So now the investigation into Uvalde is ongoing. We actually have the Justice Department is actually supposed to be looking into this situation as well. So I don't know who this person keeps coming in here with this nastiness. But anyway, I'm sorry y'all. But the Justice Department is actually supposed to be looking into this the situation at Uvalde as well. So all right, players, it's time to move on because we got to talk about these people on the House floor today. I declare it was a disgrace. All right, players. So the House floor was a buzz today. There was a lot going on. The House they were there to discuss the Protect Our Kids Act. Um, that is an act that's like a plethora of bills that are supposed to reform the gun laws or whatever. And I'm going to tell you what some of them are because um, let me get it here. I have it. Oh Lord. It's a plethora of gun laws that they have put together for stricter background checks and different stuff like that. And they're planning to vote on this all at the same time. Actually, Nancy Pelosi was saying that they're going to vote on it next week. So they were on the House floor today discussing it. Earlier today, if you're following my content, I played you a couple of I played you Louis Gohmert, who was, I declare, honey, a disgrace on the House floor. He said something about, do they think we're heartless and all of this old mess. But I wanted to play you this one from one of the members of the House. Y'all get ready because you're going to need your tea to listen to this.
School shootings have been around for decades. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They're here to stay. So we've got two options. Hide behind the desks and barricade the door, or arm the teachers, arm the staff. We're not forcing teachers to carry guns, but again, arm the staff. Our kids will be much safer.
That's really how you feel. Let me give you a little bit more of these GQP members.
Comes with a 21-round magazine. Here's a Sig Sauer 320.
Blaming the gun for what's happening in America is small-minded.
I heard Shaquille O'Neal observe that the access to guns is not the problem.
But let's wait on the damn facts. There are a lot of facts that I'm still waiting to reserve judgment on.
Hunter Biden illegally acquired a handgun despite being an admitted drug addict.
I hope the gun is not loaded.
I'm at my house. I can do whatever I want with my guns.
You think we don't have hearts? You arrogant people.
Democrats blame guns. They criticize the NRA. Their real beef is with the Second Amendment.
An AR-15 is a gun of choice for killing raccoons before they get to our chickens.
So Hunter Biden is a reason. What else? AR-15s are used for raccoons. There's a plethora of reasons why they should keep the gun laws the way they are. However, none of them have anything to do with protecting children or protecting people. It is absolutely disgusting what they are doing. So the Democrats package that they were down there debating on, well, they were talking about it. They were having a meeting. They weren't debating. Includes measures to raise the purchasing age for semi-automatic rifles to 21 years old, outlaw magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, strengthen storage requirements, codify a ban on bump stocks, prohibit straw purchases of firearms, and combat untraceable ghost guns. They're actually working on that at a state level in New York, which I absolutely love it. That's something that Attorney General Letitia James is actually working on, and I just love her. But anyway, I digress, honey. So that is what's in this. And a group of 21 Democrats actually got together and they said that they didn't think it was a good idea for them because this is going to be one package lumped together. They're calling it to protect our kids. Was it Protect Our Kids Act. And it's going to be one thing just right across the board, okay? And a group of House Democrats led by Abigail Spanberger, she's a Democrat from Virginia, is asking leadership to actually split up the package of 8 gun bills and hold individual votes on each measure in hopes of maximizing Republican support for each as they head to the Senate. So they don't want it, she don't want it to be one whole thing. Kind of reminds me of what she's talking about, kind of reminds me of the stimulus package back when they were voting on that, how they wanted people, they wanted it to be split up in several different bills and all this kind of things. But I don't know, she wrote that letter to Nancy Pelosi, um and the House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler um wrote that to them. I don't know if they're going to consider doing it individually. I guess we'll find out tomorrow whether they will do something like that. I think it would be better if it were me. I likely would split it up to see how much we could get, how much support we could get individually versus putting it in a full package like that. Hold on. Versus putting it in a package like that, because you may have some that support this the raising the age limit, but then you may have some that don't want to get rid of the magazine thing. So if you put it all together, it kind of, I guess that would be good. But either way, I don't think we're going to have very much Republican support on it. But I guess we'll see what happens. So that's what they were doing down on the House floor today. President Biden actually took to the stage tonight to actually try to compel or encourage the Republicans to try to do something. And here's a little bit of what he had to say.
After Columbine, after Sandy Hook, after Charleston, after Orlando, after Las Vegas, after Parkland, nothing has been done. This time that can't be true. This time we must actually do something. The issue we face is one of conscience and common sense. For so many of you at home, I want to be very clear. This is not about taking away anyone's guns. It's not about vilifying gun owners. In fact, we believe we should be treating responsible gun owners as an example of how every gun owner should behave. I respect the culture and the tradition and the concerns of lawful gun owners. At the same time, the Second Amendment, like all other rights, is not absolute.
So that's what President Biden had to say. Again, he's trying to encourage the Republicans to do something. This is what I always say, and I'm going to say it again. And although we're in this situation again, I don't know if this is going to change the Republicans' minds, but I'll never forget when President Obama stood in that Rose Garden and cried after Sandy Hook, tears running down his face. And he talked about, and he wanted them to pass stricter gun laws, I think it was at that time they were talking about raising the age limit for background checks. Raising the age limit to buy AR-15 or something like that. And they did nothing. 26 dead children. Nothing. So, this is what I'm hoping, and I'm gonna move on past this. I'm hoping that Uvalde messing this up so badly, I'm hoping that will be the catalyst to get them to actually do something about it. That they see that, which I know that this is far-fetched to even think that the Republican would think this way, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Maybe that made them see the good guys with guns don't always work. Because you know how they always say that? Good guys with guns work. We had 19 good guys with guns, probably 100 more outside. And you see what happened. You know what I'm saying? What a cowardice act that happened in Uvalde. And I'm hoping that maybe that will get them to change. But some Republicans have said that they will support certain measures, but with it all lumped together like this, I'm just not sure. So we'll see what happens. All right, players, we got one last story for the night. We're not going to do play stupid games, win stupid prizes, because I didn't get a chance to find y'all a story. However, this right here, This is a hot boo boo shitty mess. Now, players out there in YouTube and podcasting, where I want y'all to pay close attention to this screen, to what I'm about to put up here. Podcasters at home, I'm gonna tell you what I'm got up here. So I want you to imagine that you are a black mother and your child comes home very excited about a prize that he has received at school, an award that he has received. Your black son comes home with this, and it says the Monkey Award is presented to Braylon Ellis for keeping others entertained. They did this in Batesville, Mississippi. Um, I, an award was given to a pre-K student in Mississippi that left his mother asking questions. Shamika Ellis voiced concerns when her son brought home the Monkey Award for entertaining others. Her son received other awards too, but the one comparing him to a monkey is something that Ellis did not expect. He was excited about the award. He had no idea what he was holding. It's unacceptable for me. Ellis met with the school district officials who told her what happened was unacceptable. They said her child's teacher didn't know the history behind blacks. I want to say black people, behind black people being compared to monkeys. She said the teacher stated that she gave him the award because of his energy. Um, but the award doesn't say anything about energy. It says entertainment. Ellis said that the principal um, told her that the school leaders had a meeting before the ceremony, cautioning them to be sensitive about the awards given to students. Shamika said that she's still not happy about it. She's angry because she don't understand why her son got a monkey award. Um, when he received an award that he completed pre-K. Ellis said that she was told that award ceremonies like this will not happen anymore. Now she just wants an apology from the school district. So this award podcaster says the Monkey Award. I declare. What a disgrace. And this is why CRT is important. This is why every teacher should be taking CRT. Because if you did not know that you are not supposed to call black children monkeys, then you shouldn't be teaching black children. This I'm gonna give you a story and then I'm gonna let y'all go. I remember my son, when my son was younger, he went to daycare. And when I came to pick him up, my son had this habit of grabbing on, like when he was a baby, maybe 1 years old, he would grab onto you, he would clutch you so tight, and he would wrap his legs around you or whatever. He would do this. And so when I got to the daycare that day to pick him up, his daycare teacher was bringing him out to me, and he was clutched around her like that. And she said, "Oh, your son is such a little monkey." Y'all, I know. I just know you fucking lying. I looked at this girl and I said, "Did you just call my baby a monkey? Did you just call my baby a monkey?" And she said, "Well, he grabs on like a monkey." I said, "Listen, how old are you?" This girl was only about 18. I told her, I said, "Don't you ever do that again." I said, "Because there's gonna be a parent that is not gonna like that. Okay. I don't like it either, but a black parent will beat your ass for doing something like that, calling a black child a monkey. You can't do that or whatever." I told her, I said, "Don't ever do that again." And I told her the history and I sent her ass some articles, some little shit to read. I sure did. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. That is not acceptable at all. So they gave this baby the Monkey Award. They need to give this woman her apology expeditiously. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So, players, I believe we're at the end of our show, and I just want to thank you all for joining. Uh we got somebody in here that's running for mayor in Palmdale, California. Come on in here, Alana Schofield. I hope I got your name right. I love it here. Y'all see that? Alana Sho I might be saying her name wrong, honey, but she might didn't want to be put on blast, but she been commenting, so You right, Niecy. What else has the teacher done? If you could give a child a monkey award, and you call them a monkey in the class. And that's what I told that girl. I said, I know if you calling my baby a monkey to me, you've been calling him monkey out in the street. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. Well, players, I hope y'all really love the show. I was not planning on coming, but you know what? I had said, let me get my mind off of this stuff. Let me come and spill some tea. And I really wanted to spill that DL stuff, and I didn't want to have to make a 10-minute video. So I said, let me come on here because next week is going to be stale. All right, players, I really hope that y'all enjoyed the show. Thank y'all so much for joining. Remember to follow on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you follow on Facebook if you're on YouTube, and make sure you follow on YouTube if you're on Facebook. Make sure y'all thumbs up the video, like and share or whatever. Thank y'all so much for joining. And remember, this episode will be loaded to my podcast wherever you stream your podcast after midnight. Thank y'all so much for joining. Y'all have a precious night. And remember, the news is always petty as hell, but it's accurate. I'll see y'all next time, babies. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Real Tea with Double D. Remember to support by following on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And subscribe to the website to keep the tea piping hot at blackuratnews.com. That's BLAQURA.